Welcome to the CyberSangha podcast. CyberSangha is a program of free live broadcasts, launched in 2009 by renowned teacher and author Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche. Join us as we draw on ancient Tibetan wisdom to discover how to connect with our best self and live to our highest potential. The following teaching, 11 Ways to Support Your Sleep Health, was given by Rinpoche on February 24th, 2024, as part of a year-long series of broadcasts from the year 2024. This content is for informational purposes only. Listeners should consult medical professionals for any physical or mental health concerns. Please use headphones and do not meditate while driving or operating machinery.
Good morning, everybody. So this Facebook live was not particularly planned about it, but I think Polly asked me to do because I've been doing a few things in Tibetan, and then so the students, English-speaking students, are worrying about what he's talking about, why he's not speaking in English. So I just wanted to do this short one for all of you. So this is about the sleep health in general, and particularly in sleep health. And I wanted to talk, before going into diving into deep into it, I wanted to talk a little bit background about it, which is over 25 years ago, I wrote a book called Tibetan Yogas of Dream and Sleep. How many of you have read that? Say yes, thumbs up. You read it. You're planning to read it. You're reading it. So, and it's been translated into probably over 25 languages. And so since then, my relationship to the sleep dream has been continuously keep changing. Also, my own spiritual practice has been continuously kind of changing from very much trying to make it part of my life, my existence, rather than trying to live life as go away from life and trying to do a practice, rather than I come back to life and trying to do the practice. As when I first time came to the West, was a very kind and generous invitation for Chögyam Namkhai Rinpoche and his guidance. And I got to come to Italy. And that time I attended many of his teachings. So one of the things that he always emphasized that I remember very clear is about integration, the teaching into everyday life. And this is, I think, what it is here. It's about integration. Because when we think about follower of any religion, any faith, any belief, that we have learned certain philosophy, certain discipline, and certain belief, and certain also like superstition in some way also, that it not always it has something to do with the way we see the world, where we process the world, where we live our life. It has something to do more separate from it. It has something to what I believe something, what I wish something, what I think how I should behave, what I think how I should live. But it's not necessarily it has to do with how actually I see the world, or I try to see the world. I'm very committed trying to change my way I see the world. I'm awareness of a little improvement of where I'm seeing the world, and seeing the benefit and the beauty of it, and trying to sharing with other people. That's not always necessarily the approach. So I think the sleep and dream has something to do with that too. The book clearly is not an easy book. It's quite a complex book, and I will clearly admit that. And but this in Western psychology, generally the dream, Jungian, Freudian, and many other the disciplines, a lot of emphasis on a dream, analysis of dream. But from neurological point of view, or from neuroscience and psychology, not necessarily always they are connected as well as it could be. And because the psychology system is somehow kind of a little bit more stable, rigid, and the science and neuroscience is always seems like a much more faster, finding more and more things. And the Tibetan dream yoga, sleep yoga is also something old tradition. It's kind of stable ideas, but not necessarily integrated with Western science and new findings, biological finding, brain and heart and health and all those things. So this integration part seems like a key, as a knowledge is a key to integrate, and also as a practice, I think it seems like a very important to integrate, because in the end of the day, every time I lead a dream yoga workshop, I always tell, first, sleep well. And sleep well is not necessarily always easy. One, there are a lot of people out there, they do not pay attention at all. They do not care about it at all. That I've noticed that. I've been through that myself. And now when I look around, I see that all the time, including my own teenage, to my friends and people, just regular people that I know. I know they don't care. They don't pay attention. And but 1/3 of our lifetime we sleep. 25 years probably average we sleep. If you live 75, but do you sleep? What kind of sleep you have? What it means to you? Can you learn something? Can you grow something? Can you heal something? Can you discover something? Of course, unofficially, yes, it's happening. But most of the cases, more negative situations are happening than the positive situation, because we are not paying enough attention to them. And more and more, especially internet age, that first electricity age, then the internet age, it's getting worse and worse. So that people do spend so much time with the light. People do not spend enough time with the darkness. The spending enough hours in the darkness, it's equally important spending enough hours in the light. It's true in the physical sense of light. It's true in the emotional sense of light. It's true all the challenges, crises that we go through in our life, we are going through them all the time, but we are not paying enough attention to them enough. That's the problem. So my attempt here is really trying to find a way to integrate these two, so to make it that the sleep health is so important, and it's so important part of our spiritual practice. Let's say this way: many of you who are listening here are practitioners. What does a practitioner means? At the end of the day, practitioner is the one who is able to through practices, through spiritual practices, through personal and spiritual practices, ability to transform some of the behaviors, human behaviors, or negative behavior, destructive behavior, unhealthy personality, transcending, transforming, or liberating, healing, then is the practice. That's it. And sometimes our faith, belief does not allow us to transform, because we are not actually practicing. We're just believing in something. We want to identify with a certain religion and ideas, beliefs, but we are not actually doing the work. in order to actual transformation requires a work. Like even sleep requires a work. It's an effort. I've been paying quite a lot of attention myself. I struggle with it. I'm improving it. I'm doing better. I sometimes still struggle. Recently, I have a wonderful sleeps. And then we went on a cruise holiday with my Singhe and his friends and families, about 26, 7 people. And it's a short cruise for 5 days down to Mexico from San Francisco. One of the easiest ways to just pop in Uber and just get to the cruise. And it was easy. That's why we did it. But in cruise, the weather was bumpy. We were sharing 3 of us in a small cabin and small beds, and water was very shaking. So I can see I did not have a good quality sleep for 5 days. Even though I tried to, unlike all my friends and definitely Singhe, I see him only in the couple of hours a day. He was having so much fun. It was so much joy for me to see him so happy with his friends. And so I trying to keep my discipline, trying to go to sleep on time, but not getting a quality sleep. It was challenging. So what I'm saying, to work on sleep, it's not easy, but we all need to pay attention. It gets easier. It can change. It can improve. It can improve our health. So that is the main point I'm trying to say. So the main point here is that I wanted to talk about 11 points. There can be more or less many different points, but 11 points that I think is important, key to sleep better. So first one is it's about regularity. So sleeping, going to bed same time, waking up same time, as regular as possible. So regularity is the key. Personally, I was not like that, but now been quiet for some time. I've been trying to be very, very regular, which means I trying to go anywhere around 9 o'clock. So I would sometimes go to earlier as 8:30 to go to the bedroom, but trying to go to sleep around 9, maybe from 9:15, 9:30, I'll fall asleep. Around 6 and 6:30, I wake up. So that is my regularity. And sometime during Tibetan Losar was a little bit, I broke some rules, and joyfully broke some rules, and I'm not following these protocols, but only for a day or two. But then I'm trying to go back to my routine. So first, regularity is the key. Second key point is exercise, and particularly they say in the new findings are that exercising in the morning is supposed to be a better. This could be changed. Sciences always keep changing, but at least that is the sense that exercising is so important for sleep, but exercising in the morning is important, maybe more important, and exercising with exposure to the sunlight is even better. So this morning, beautiful day today here in Berkeley, Bay Area, and I went for jogging, and I measured the intensity of lux, the power of light outside. It was like jogging toward the sun and not looking at the sun, but looking toward the sun. And my eyes is getting exposure to around, if I remember correct, about 9,000, 10,000, even up to 30,000 lux. But when I'm facing the opposite direction of the sun, it was only like 8,000. I think 9,000 opposite, and the facing was about close to 30,000 or something like that, around there somewhere. So that means indoor, the light will be only a couple of hundred lux. So when you're out, you're getting this amount of light to set up your internal clock, circadian rhythm. So for sure exercise, the sun, that much sunlight getting exposed is setting up your body, your brain for better night's sleep. So that is my second point. I try to do this regularly. Before, I used to do my exercise afternoon, and then after I learned about this morning exercise, so I would jog in the morning in the light and sun, and then get some weightlifting in the afternoon or something like that. So my regular exercise will be like that. So that is the second key. So the third is it's evening. So trying to dim our light in the TV, computer, phone, having the lights more to the lower on the ground rather than directly facing to the eye. And then, so lowering down and or using the blue light blocker. So the reason is why we need to get light exposure in the morning, especially the blue light, the wake up light in the morning, to say I'm awake. This is the morning, and now on I will be awake for next 16 hours or something. So the same way after 16 hours, so you're naturally, sun goes down, naturally darkness comes, you naturally feel the sleepy until you get very bright light exposure with your eye. Then you start to wake up, and then you stay so close to the screen for a long time, then it messes up your circadian rhythm, and so then you have a harder time to go to sleep. So trying to dimming down light. So that is the number 3. So number 4 is, so the I'm using this blue light blocker. So and Amazon, you can get it for $35-40. And I'm always not very successful using it. I'm trying to use regularly, about hour or 2 hours before go to bed. And it still, you can kind of look at your phone or watch TV or find. So using that, I think that will be number 4. So I guess it was the number 4. So number 5 is avoiding coffee afternoon, and so avoiding alcohol in the evening. So basically, caffeine and alcohol. So basically, and I know like some people would say, especially I coming through Italy, and people eat late and then have a double espresso coffee and joyfully have coffee. And I've noticed those things. Then if you talk to them, they will say, no, I don't have any problem sleeping. They would say, I don't have a problem, I will sleep. Or people who are drinking in the evening, liquor or wine, and people will think that this is helping them to fall asleep, or they will say, I do not have a problem following sleep after the drink alcohol. So even in the Tibetan tradition, in medical sense, sometimes we say changku, like a white rice alcohol, which especially in Tibetan New Year time we drink that, and a little sugar, a little butter in it, but very little amount we would drink as a medicinal drink to fall asleep. So that seems like sometime, I mean, I don't do it regularly, but during Tibetan New Year, when we have it around the house, we will just have a little small cup, and it does seems like a subjective experience, seems like a helping, but avoiding alcohol total in the evening, I think seems like a helpful, because alcohol is affecting sleep, deep sleep. And it seems like a caffeine is affecting or REM sleep or something like that. There's something a little more detail. I don't remember, completely recall now. But alcohol and caffeine will negatively affect People will, if you drink coffee in the morning, have a cup of coffee in the morning. I used to sometimes go out in the afternoon and go with the friends, and in the cafe. We are in the cafe. What do you want? Oh, okay. We are in the cafe. We want to hang out a little bit in the cafe. So I don't know what to drink. I'm in the cafe. Let's have a cup of coffee. Just without much of awareness, I would do that, but that is clearly affecting. So 5-6 hours to up to 10-11 hours or something like that. So if you are drinking coffee in the afternoon, it might be some quarter of that might be even in the midnight in your brain. So that is kind of still affecting negatively your deep sleep. So anyway, so that's the another point, point 5, I guess. I might get confused between the back and forth a little bit here. The point 6 is about dinner, late dinner. So I personally most of the evening, I try and skip my dinner. Or sometimes special evenings when I'm going out with the family, I'm trying to go earlier and eat light. And if I'm getting a good exercise and I feel a little hungry, maybe afternoon I'll have a little dessert that I have dessert with a banana, with grass-fed milk, with some just small little bit of rice, with kiwi and cherry and pistachio kind of mix. It's a really nice, delicious dessert, a small cup. I would have that around 2-3 in the afternoon or something. That's it. Then you do not have anything. So skipping dinner, if you're doing intermittent fasting, then recommended to skip dinner rather than breakfast, or eating lighter 3 hours before bedtime. So that will be point number 6. And then, point number 7 is about the comfort of your bedroom. So keeping dark as much as possible. So sometimes I wear my eye mask to keep it if the situation is not correct when I'm traveling, or even have something to close my ear to not to get the noise. Then the room temperature, keeping it down to 65 Fahrenheit and about around 18 Celsius. So keeping it anywhere, we are all different bodies, so you might have different needs, but I think keeping temperature a little bit cooler side, it's so important. Personally, I feel it's making a big differences. So that's the 7. 8. So if we are taking a nap, some people power naps, and everybody loves to take power nap. I mean, I love to take power nap, and especially during the retreat weekend teachings, and I'm doing, always like to have a short nap. And I know if I take more than 40 minutes, an hour or something like that, then I don't feel very clear. I feel a little bit grumpy. And so recommendation would be about around 20 minutes, and you have to experiment yourself. So you know when you wake up, you are fresh, not more sleepy, and you also wanted to pay attention those you have a problem following sleep or staying sleep, and you don't want to take longer naps in the afternoon. Maybe sometime experiment with skipping them and see if you sleep better. So that will be another recommendation. And then the number 9 is about cold shower and sauna. So hot sauna and cold shower. And so this is, personally, I've been experimenting. Sauna, I do almost like 5-6 days a week. So it's supposed to help your sleep. And sometimes I don't know if personal experiences, sometimes if I I love to go into sauna. If I go a little bit more too long, sometimes I have my feeling, I'm not sure. I have no proof. My sense is sometimes it's affecting negatively, but going for a shorter time, it feels like affecting positively. So in Eastern Finland, University of Eastern Finland, they're supposed to be done to study with, if I'm remembering correct, about 2,000 people or something like that, 4 to 7 times a week, a sauna, each session about 19 minutes. And the health benefit, it's amazing, with cardiovascular disease and circulation, the memory to, I don't remember the list of things, a lot of benefit, but it's definitely very relaxing, calming down. And cold shower I like. At home here, not able to get enough cold. Yesterday, I trying to get this from Amazon, a cold plunge, portable, like a plastic kind of thing, cheap one, $45-$50 or something. I trying to set it up and trying to go in there, and then while I'm there, it broke it and the water fell down, and so it did not work that well. But just taking cold shower outside with the hose in the garden, it clearly seems very refreshing. And doing a little bit earlier, maybe not right before the bed. I'm not sure about right before the bed, but earlier, a couple of hours before might be beneficial. So, and then number 10, it's more like really one's own spiritual practice. I guess one might say meditation helps. So meditation could include many things, like little. I try to every morning around 6:30 or something like that. I would do experimenting with the red light therapy, and I would, with the dark glasses, sit in front of the red light and do my meditation with the breathing meditation, exposure to the red light therapy, and do the breathing exercise. Then I would go in after that, 20 minutes after that, go to the shrine to set up my shrine with a water bowl, incense, and candle, and do prostration prayer. And so this kind of regular, so setting up the energy, just even setting up positive sense of energy, bringing the energy to the day. So that's kind of my regular thing. So it seems like a clearly throughout the day trying to stay in more positive side, look at the life more brighter side, positive side, trying to listen more to people, trying to feel more people, trying to connect more with people, and trying to have more heartfelt conversations with people. So these are whenever one is feeling more anxious or something, trying to do a deep breathing, trying to get into more like a parasympathetic nervous state, more relaxed state. Also, remembering those frequently, I think that's key. So that's number 10. So number 11 is just, I thought about, if you look at Google it, there are a lot of fruits which is support for high in melatonin and sleep property, which benefits more help sleep. So looking at the more foods and fruits like that, more trying to have more in one's own diet, more of that kind of fruits and food, like trying. I don't know if you have experiment with my dessert. I am clearly enjoying it almost every day, at least once. That you don't have to put the sugar part, added sugar on it. So those, and of course so all of these is a very much I'm learning a lot, all the science findings. I'm experimenting a lot in myself. I'm integrating a lot of this in my practice teaching, sharing a lot of this with others who are in need of help. But I am not a doctor. I am not a scientist. I am just a practitioner who is curious about everything and very interested in integrating these things with ancient wisdom traditions, new science findings, and trying to experiment them within myself. And so that's what I'm trying to do. So anything what I'm saying here, if you wanted to experiment, then you have to make sure that you are your physical, your mental is in the right condition to experiment these things. And if you have a doubt, then you consult with your doctor or professionals. So that is definitely, I would recommend that. So yeah. So then one last thing is that, I guess this idea of people talking about why should I, people will say, I used to say the same thing. I sleep okay. I don't have a problem. I don't want to wear anything on my wrist or in my finger to measure my sleep, and then I get anxious. And people will say that I get it, and I felt the same thing. I mean, I still sometimes, and when I wanted to break some of the rules and I don't wanted to follow my protocols of the day, all these 11 things, then one night I will say, well, I will go out with the family and not worry about eating late or not worry about anything. Just skip the exercise and just not wear the ring and not wear anything. I'm a free person tonight, just kind of enjoying my evening like that. Of course, I still feel that, but better to know what's going on in your life than not knowing what's going on in your life. You don't want to know something afterward too late. There's nothing you can do about, or you don't want to find out after it has negatively affected you so long time. You don't want to know about it. I wish many of these things, I wish that I've done 30 years ago. But at least I'm having fun with it, and I'm definitely wanted to bring that awareness into anybody who wanted to improve life, health, and affect each other. So for example, talking about caffeine, late, light, alcohol, late dinner, lack of regularity, sleep. People will say, I'm okay. But how do you know you're okay? How do you know you sleep? You don't know. So, for example, how do you don't know is, for example, two thing will be the deep and REM sleep. So, amount of hours of sleep, anywhere from 7 to 9 hours of sleep, depends on the different people, might have different needs, but at least 7 to 9 seems like a quite common for everybody needs that. So you don't know if you really slept 7 hour, 8 hour, 9 hour unless you measure, because going to the bed does not mean that is where you count, or being in the bed does not mean you slept that amount of time. That's one thing. Second thing is about deep sleep. So, for example, 13 to 23% of your sleep needed to be deep sleep. So, deep sleep needed to be 13 to 23% of your sleep duration. So that means if you're sleeping about 8 hours, so your REM sleep should be about 1 hour and 50 minutes. So that's 23%. Oh, sorry, the deep sleep should be 1 hour and 15 minutes. That's 23% of the healthier aspect. Or the REM sleep needed to be 1 hour and 36 minutes. That's 20% of your sleep time. So did you get that or not? You don't know unless you have something is measuring it. Even with measurements, they are not 100% accurate, but at least gives you much better reading than your assumption, assuming something. So even in Ring or Whoop, they give you different results, but they're pretty close. But if I would guess my own without these gadgets, biofeedback gadgets, I will probably my judgment will be much more off than these devices. So I think it's important in some sense, some point. They are not too expensive, I think, but definitely their worth. If you skip dinner and wine, it will, within a month it will pay off. Going out dinner and going out for drink, and then it will pay off within a month. So it's not a cost. Should not be the important issue, right? So anyway, my point is, how do you know? We don't know. We can guess. So sometimes I think one of these devices are helpful. So why we need to sleep? I think if we sleep, if we don't get, for example, please, I don't remember everything perfectly correct here, but learning about myself, so one of the thing that I heard is that if you reduce 5% of your REM sleep, you're increasing 13% of your death. 5% reduction of REM sleep, 13% increase of your death. That's quite shocking, right? Yeah. So, and if you look at many, what is the health benefit or health consequences of not getting enough sleep, not getting good quality sleep will be impaired cognitive functions, emotional and mental issues, more emotional and mental issues, weakness in immune systems, increased risk of cardiovascular diseases, weight gain and obesity, chances of more to weight gain and obesity because of lack of sleep or not getting enough quality of sleep, impair metabolic health, decrease libido, so it's like a sexual hormone for both men and women, increased risk of accident. Of course, probably there's so many deaths are happening every day because of lack of sleep. Decrease physical performances. If you are doing any physical performances, that's one of the way I'm trying to encourage my teenage, because he's very much interested in the volleyball and sport, and I'm saying only way I'm trying to tell him to go to sleep because you will play better, but that doesn't work either. So but anybody who is need physical performances, that's important. Aging of skin, so you can clearly see that probably better than any beauty products. If you're getting enough sleep and good quality sleep, you see that in your skin, in your face. Hormonal imbalances, decrease cognitive performances, increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases, poor emotional regulation, impaired judgment of decision-making process, social and relationship issues. How often we get into a fight in a relationship. When you have a bad night's sleep, you wake up, you find a good reason to fight with your husband, your wife, your kids. When you have a very good sleep, you agree with them. Everything life looks good, looks fine. Increase inflammation when you lack of sleep. Reduce vaccine effectiveness. When you are lack of sleep, and even you have a vaccine, sometimes vaccine might not be affecting also. Disruption of the gut microbiome. So even increased risk of certain cancers like breast cancers or prostate cancers are, in science says that there is more increase just because of lack of sleep or lack amount of sleep or quality of sleep. So these are amazing benefit and consequences of not getting quality and enough sleep. So I hope this information is good enough information for all of us to wake up a little bit and pay more closer attention with joy, with enthusiasm, and share with each other, get excited about it. And so, and I'm here to support, that's what I've been talking in the Tibetans also. I've been, sometimes we can talk about wisdom, 5 wisdom and this and that. It seems like a very intellectual, and sometimes even when we speak as a teachers, it becomes more intellectual. And people who hears it, people who are scholars and people who are intellectually curious about things, they learn about these things, but they learn to do what? If none of these things becomes a practical application in life, or application which bringing some changes and differences in your body and mind, then there is no purpose of learning anything. I would not be satisfied enough to believing that I have accumulating some merit learning about the Dharma. I would rather learn the Dharma to have some even small impact of changes in my body and my mind. And I would encourage everybody else to see that way, look that way, and learn Dharma and practice in that way. So thank you very much. And I will be posting more stuff, more things, more fun things, and enjoy. And feedback, and share this video. If I talk about 5 wisdom, maybe you might have a difficulty sharing with your family members. What this crazy guy is talking about 5 wisdom. But if you share about the sleep health, most of the people have issues with that, and this might change their life. And you can support each other, your family members, each other with this information, with these experiments. An experiment. This is a very much experiment. Everything what I'm saying might work for you or might not work for you. But generally speaking, science and my experiment, on myself, it seems like helping a lot. So enjoy. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the CyberSangha podcast. If you'd like to learn more about CyberSangha, visit us online at cybersangha.net.